Hey guys, Grumpy here with episode 33 of Rise Zero to Her Let's Play as Mercury Guy. So a lot has happened in between episodes, namely in our colonies and our fleet composition. So we're gonna go over those, and we're gonna talk about kind of like where the series is gonna go and what the end goals of the series are. So jumping into the planets, the colonies. Our colonies have come a long way from when we first started. They're now colony size 5 worlds, which is fantastic. Let's go ahead and start with Cheeseburger. We followed the plan that we laid out when we first colonized this world. So it having organics and farming available to it. We built the aquaculture, so we produce food for all of our colonies. Then we also built mining, which produces organics. You don't really need organics on habitable worlds, but on inhabitable worlds, you do need organics. So this covers the rest of our worlds for that. Namely, our gas giant requires organics. So we built mining for that. And then we built light industry. So just following the chain, the light industry converts the organics into domestic goods, luxury goods, and then also recreational drugs. So that covers the demand for all the rest of our worlds. Also, on top of that, we spent a single story point to increase the production of our goods. It was namely because recreational drugs was a little lacking. Like mining industries require recreational drugs, so like we couldn't even produce enough to cover the same world that the light industry is on. So we spent the story point on that. I don't know if it was necessary. Probably not. We could have also installed a alpha core to do the same thing, but I just didn't want to deal with the threat, so I spent some of the story points that we had stocked up. And that's pretty much it on this world. We currently produce about 64k. The last industry that we're going to build is going to be commerce. Commerce, what it does is it multiplies your colony income by 1.25. So currently, well, if we disable hazard pay, um, currently we produce about 80k credits a month on this world. Once we bump up to size 6, it'll probably go up to about maybe like 100k. And then we built commerce, which is a 1.25 multiplier, so we'll end up making about 125,000 credits per month from this one colony, which is pretty good. It's not like in the past where you could produce like 200, 300k as soon as the world hits size 6, but it's a good start. Next up, we have Wraith here. Wraith came a long way. This is our gas giant, produces volatiles. Wraith came a long way. I think it was costing us about 20k a month. Finally, we got it near neutral, and then pretty soon it'll be very positive. If we disable like hazard pay, for example, we still have positive growth. It just plummets. But we'd be making about 25k a month on this world. With hazard pay, obviously a lot less. We found a plasma dynamo, which increases volatile production by +3. Then we built fuel production, which converts those volatiles into fuel. And the fuel that we produce, it's not much on this world, but it is enough to keep things like the way station going. Well, not really this case. That can cause 5. I thought it was 3. Anyway, we produce a little bit of fuel in this world. Namely, I guess it's mostly for export. Yeah, because Banshee produces the lion's share of the fuel. But now that I have this panel up, a quick thing I want to say is if you want to make a lot of credits, corner the fuel production market. It's a really good market for like 3 reasons. One, there's not a lot of producers in this market, right? So there's only 3 colonies here, or there's only 3 factions here. So Syndria, Nachiketa, and Syndria, the Hegemony, and the Persian League. So if you can remove these fuel producers from this market, then you're gonna end up you're gonna end up monopolizing the entire market. So the entire global market value will go to your colonies. That entire 177k will be divided amongst your colonies. Next up, if you don't want to go that far as to remove people, it's very easy to cripple Sindri and Nachiketa specifically for their fuel production because they have what's called a synchrotron core, which we showed off in the past. You can just conduct a raid against these worlds, take that from them, and it'll severely hamper their their fuel production, meaning that the market share that they have will be reallocated amongst the rest of the producers in the market, and usually the player is the next highest producer, so they'll benefit the most from that shift. The final reason it's so good is just because it's very profitable. Just like right out of the box, every planet, if you go over to the consumer tab, every planet colony requires fuel. So there are a lot of participants, a lot of consumers in the market. So if you can produce your own fuel, then you'll get a small slice of that pie. So just right out of the box, it is very profitable. Like we make 15K, and we only produce 3 fuel. Banshee, which we'll talk about in a second, produces 7 fuel, and we pull 40K just from that one resource. So very good. Corner of the market on fuel. It's very nice. Get a gas giant and then build fuel production. Um, Following that, there's not really much else in the chain. Just mining directly into fuel production. So our last industry was a military base, and what this does is it produces marines for our heavy batteries. So now we're covered on marines. We don't have to import any anymore, which is a great way to save additional credits. Marines are very expensive, so if you can produce your own, then that's great. The final industry we'll probably build on this planet will either be heavy industry, so we can turn that into orbital works, uh, or potentially commerce, but it's not really worth it on this world, as is. Since it's a multiplier, our base is so low that I don't think we'll make uh, too much from building that. So it's kind of up in the air what we want to build. That's our last one. And then finally, Banshee. Banshee is an absolute rock star. This world is going to be incredibly profitable once we hit colony size 6. Unlike Cheeseburger, the hazard pay on this planet is about 40K. So once we hit colony size 6, we can stop paying that hazard pay per month. This planet will probably go up to like 100K because it produces really, really great resources. It produces ship hulls in great quantities, supplies in great quantities, heavy armaments, a ton of fuel, and not really so much refining, but it is there as well. Transphotonic ores do go for quite a bit. There's a large global market value for those as well. I'm curious, Chit Smallstock, do you have a no? Oh, you're just a big world. Okay. I was seeing if there was a domain artifact that increases production on these worlds. It doesn't look like it. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So once this hits colony size 6, we stop paying that hazard pay. We'll go up to probably around 100K, and then we'll build commerce as our final industry, and we'll probably end up producing about 125 to 150K on this one world. Total our colonies, once they hit colony size 6, we'll probably make somewhere around 300K ish when all is said and done. This is our breakdown currently. Right now, we are losing credits per month because our fleet is so expensive, and we'll get into just why in a second. Also, we have a ton of officers. Alright. So moving on from there, let's go into the fleet. This is a very large fleet, and that's for a specific reason. Um, what I plan to do with the series is I intend to wrap it up pretty soon. I didn't want to leave it unfinished because there's a lot of Let's Play series out there that go unfinished. So I want to make sure everything gets said and done, and I want to lay out the goals of what a complete Zero to Hero looks like. So the goals are to do 3 difficult endgame fights. I'm not gonna, I don't want to spoil too much, but we're gonna do a Remnant fight. We're gonna do a Remnant Nexus, and then we're going to fight a very, very challenging fight, very special fight, very unique. We'll go over its. I won't say too much about it because some of you might not know what it is, so I kind of want to save it. for them. But we have seen remnants in the past, so I feel free to talk about them. So remnants, we're gonna fight a remnant ordo with this fleet. I've practiced on my main campaign with a slightly smaller fleet, but that had better ships. There were no D mods on those ships, so that I was able to get it done. We're gonna fight a remnant ordo. Just demonstrate that you can do it. Um, this is a this is a fairly expensive fleet, kind of difficult to put together. But at this point in the game, once you have some colonies, it shouldn't be too difficult. It's just a matter of finding the ships on the market and buying them, or producing them if you get lucky and find the blueprints. So that's not really too imposing of a challenge. And then I lost my train of thought. Oh well. Anyway, we're gonna demonstrate fighting a Remnant Ordo using this fleet, and then also we're gonna fight a Remnant Nexus. Remnant Nexus is just a battle station. We're gonna demonstrate that using this fleet as well, just to show off that you can do it. You don't need like a crazy, quad or triple S modded or triple safety overrides, hull modded, um, Hyperion, whatever, like 30 of them in a fleet. You don't need something crazy like this. Just a well-designed, robust fleet is enough to get the job done. So we'll be demonstrating those fights, and then as well as the other fight that I won't really spoil too much. So in this episode, we're just gonna work on finding another monitor, getting our ships ready, seeing if we can chip off some of those D mods, and then scouting out where we want to go fight the remnants. All right. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna reassign my skills, and I'm gonna pick up hull restoration. What hull restoration allows me to do is it will slowly remove demods from my ships. Um, it rolls dice, and if it gets lucky, it'll remove one demod per ship. It'll remove one demod from a ship. Something you can do, which is what I do sometimes, is I will pull out all the ships that have demods on them that I want to get rid of. Uh, take mothball them, take a single frigate out, and then just run, just AFK and just let the game run in the background, and the months will tick by, and then after like 2 hours or so, usually all the demods will be stripped off of the ships. I'm not gonna do that because that's a little uh, scummy, but uh, that is tech that you can definitely do. I won't demonstrate it here because I don't want to mothball my ships because then I have to pay the supply costs to uh, to get their combat readiness back up. But you can definitely do that. Um, if money is tight, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I said it was scummy, but that's just something that I wouldn't do. But there is nothing wrong with it. So we're gonna go ahead and reassign our skills. We're gonna take out automated ships. We're gonna activate hull restoration, and is that it? I think that's it. Uh, hmm. Yeah, I think that's it. A little bit of an expensive story point shift, but I think it's necessary. Um, moving into the end game, capital ships are going to be very expensive to restore, and as you see, credits are kind of an issue. All right. Real quick, before I set off on this journey, can I produce a monitor? I cannot. Okay. All right. So we're gonna fly around for a little bit. It is gonna be very expensive, but I think it'll be worth it. Let's go scout out um, a high warning beacon. There it is. There's one. Alright, let's grab some fuel. No. Storage. Ah, there it is. All right, cool. Let's go scout this out and see what it's like. Other than that, besides the fleet and the colonies, not much else has happened. Interesting. There's a pirate fleet there. Not much else has happened. We've done a couple of raids and then a few small bounties. Alright. For the first time in history, the slipstream is actually traveling in the direction that we want it to, which is really nice. Alright, cool. And there you see hull restoration kicking in, so it removed glitch sensor array from our Fury. Alright. So this is the low warning beacon. Alright. And we're looking for the high. Nice. So we got lucky, we got another roll. This was fuel injector, which is really good for us. Means we can stop burning so much fuel. Okay. Alright, so this is typically how I like to approach these systems. I will jump in on one of the fringes and then try to move my way into the center very slowly. This is a very large system. It looks like it's planets all the way this far out. Typically, the nexus will be located kind of towards the center of the map. So if you jump in on the edge, you can avoid, getting swarmed. And then worst case scenario, we do have story points to burn, so we could get out of it. Wow, a very, very large system here. We have a sensor array in the center and a nav buoy, which is not bad. Alright. I kind of want to activate both. But I do see there's a blue dot. I think I saw something on my mini-map here. Okay, maybe not. Let's see if we can get into the sense. Okay. That did not take long at all. We'll fight this Remnant order. This is a sub order, so this is a small fleet. But this will demonstrate kind of the power of the Radiant and just why it's so devastating. We'll go ahead and move into Engager. Now, I'm going to show off kind of the tech that I'm going to use against the Remnant Ordos, and that's going to be controlling a monitor. Let's pick a better monitor. You see me do this before. In more difficult fights, I'll control the monitor because I have the most important job, which is going to be shepherding our ships. Just making sure that everything is safe and not being flanked, not being overwhelmed. This is excessive. Yeah, sure. Better safe than sorry. Again, this is Iron Man, so it's better to overcommit than undercommit and lose half your ships. We'll have the Omens try their best to follow the Hyperions. We'll have the Monitor go ahead, plunge forward, and then you guys can actually. If you set your Dominators to pick their own targets, what they'll do is they'll actually end up like chasing down whatever's closest to them, and usually what's closest to them is frigates. So they'll end up wasting their time doing that. Alright. Everything else is good to go. We'll have our Hyperions try to grab this. And yeah, I think this is good. Alright. just realized I didn't do an in-depth fleet breakdown. I can demonstrate some of the changes that I made. We're still looking for tachyon lances for our Paragon, for our Paragons, and for our champions, but we haven't been lucky yet. Okay, so there's the Remnant. Okay, it's kind of not where I want it to be. We'll have the monitor go ahead and pick up the Radiant. The Dominators can still capture that. That's fine. Alright. We'll go ahead and wrestle control. See if we can get the attention of the Radiant here. Oh, it has triple, interesting. It has triple, Tachyon Lances, which is very scary. We'll have the Auroras go chase down the Brilliant. We'll have the Dominators again assault that. I'll have the Hyperions go after the Brilliant here, or the Fulgent, and I think that's it. My job will just be to entertain the Radiant and just keep it off the rest of our fleet. So the Radiant is, if you haven't seen this ship before, the Radiant is very terrifying. It moves very quickly. It has a ton of armaments. It has it has 5 large weapon slots. 2 of those being dedicated energy slots, or I think, yeah, I think 2 of those being dedicated energy slots, and then 3 being synergy, so you can put missiles or energy weapons in those. Large energy weapons are probably the most devastating thing in the game, so be very careful around those, and it has access to 5 of them at once. It also has access to 4 medium missile slots, as you see here on the bow. I'm not sure what you would call that, but it has access to 4 medium slots, which is nightmarish. It can really put out a lot of hurt very quickly. This is one of the better ones that I've seen put together. So it has sabos, it has plasma cannons, and then it also has tachyon lances. This is no problem for the monitor though, just because of the way we designed it. The tachyon lances can jump through our shields, but it's more than likely not going to happen because our flux dissipation is so high. And what is taking so long? Let's have the Aurora pivot over here. Help on that. We can get rid of that. And then let's bring our Dominators into the fight over here. Kind of don't really want to separate the fleet, but since we're babysitting the Radiant, I'm a little more confident again about that. Alright. So the Fulgent is down. I want everything to just dogpile that Brilliant. Okay. Wow. I don't think I've seen I don't think I've seen such an inefficient Radiant. It's about to flux itself out, and I guess that's the cost of running 3 tachyon lances. Yeah, it's in a really tough spot because these Dominators are gonna have no problem pushing its hard flux up. That's good. Um, let's bring our Hyperions over because they're very quick. The monitor, we can go ahead and retreat. We don't really need it in the fight, as well as the omens can retreat as well. All right. Okay. We do want to give the Dominator some reprieve, right? until it gets a little back up. All right. Okay. Let's go ahead and move out the way. We'll send the omens after the. That's not a glimmer. What is this called? What is this called? Lumen. Yeah, there it is. We'll send the omens after the lumen so they can go ahead and take care of that, and then everyone else will apply a significant amount of pressure to the radiant. All right. The frigates will go ahead and pull off, just because they're blocking line of sight with the rest of our fleet. Nice. And we'll let the auroras work. Um, we'll put the auroras on this side, and we'll put the dominators on this side as well. All right. We'll keep the monitor around, but we'll take control of the aurora, and we'll try to get it to stop blocking the line of sight of our of our dominators. All right, it's using breaches against us. Okay, there's the radiant using its phase skip ability to turn instantly. Very terrifying. We'll put our sables on auto fire. Looks like our tropos are finished. Also put our sabos and our iron pulse on auto fire. Then we'll just focus on using our antimatter blasters. Alright, cool. The Radiant is a very, very tough opponent. So don't let like by itself, not really scary because obviously you can overwhelm it. But in a much larger fleet, it's very scary, very devastating, very maneuverable. All right. Oh, nice. We got a Tachyon Lance, which is perfect for us. All right. Let's continue closer to the heart of the system. Being very careful here. Let's see what we have. Orbital Habitat, a Shepherd. This is a Remnant Ordo, but this one doesn't have any radiance in it. So this is not a difficult fight. We can ignore it for now. We get some organics, which is really nice. We also get some more gamma cores. Put back the metal. 500 food that somehow we missed on the first pass. We can put back more metals. And I don't think we'll take the food. That's fine. We will take the supply, of course. Alright. The reason I want to activate this sensor array is because I want the 700 sensor range that it'll provide for us. Actually, let's go activate the nav buoy first. One, because it's farther away from the from the center, and then two, it'll give us a nice speed boost so we can get away from remnants if we need to. Nice. These D mods are just falling off. It's fantastic. Hull restoration by itself will save you millions of credits over the course of a campaign. But once you get your fleet kind of how you like it, oh no. Okay. Once you get your fleet how you like it, then I strongly recommend swapping out hull restoration for another mod, another character skill. So let's go ahead and claim it. Let's hit proceed. Alright, so now we have a +3 bonus, so we move at 19. Which is really good, and then we'll see if we can sneak in and grab the sensor array. Then we'll cap off this episode by fighting a proper Remnant Ordo, and just demonstrating what that fight looks like. Yikes, let's see if we can go dark here for a second. And then pick up the sensor array. We'll go ahead and claim it, proceed. Okay, nice. Really? How serendipitous. Let's go ahead and investigate this. On the far side of the blue giant, I think we have something special waiting for us. Sure, a remnant ordo, but this should be a mega structure. Yes, and there it is, the coronal hypershunt. So we'll talk about this in a following episode, but this is going to be very, very, very interesting. I promise. It looks like this fleet is mostly sub-ordos. Not really any big ordos. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and get away from this. Okay. So I want to demonstrate something really quickly. If your intent is to farm remnant ordos, the reason you'd want to is for story point experience, or the lucrative alpha cores that they drop. What I recommend is finding where the nexus is, going near it, luring like one or two fleets away. Remnant ordos travel very slowly, and I don't think they emergency burn. Not that I can recall off the top of my head. But get in range of one of them, and then drift off to the nebula that's nearby, or kind of like just away from the center. If there's an asteroid belt, you can use that to hide. But try to just fight them one at a time. They are very difficult ships to fight, so you don't want to be fighting multiple fleets. Even a ordo and a subordo combined is enough to overwhelm most fleets in the game. Two remnant ordos, unless you really know what you're doing, is going to be devastating. Alright, so what we have here is we have two bands. This band is going to be this remnant ordo. What should happen in a second is this sub-ordo should lose track of us, and it should start executing a search pattern if it's not doing it already. If we now change directions while we're outside of this fleet's sensor range, it'll get lost and we'll be able to lure this one by itself. Alright. So if we go ahead and do something like this, where we're still in the range of one but not the other. Oh, there's another one. Okay, that's fine. Alright, everybody's in the conga line. Follow me. Oh, okay, this one, it gets a little confusing. But this one is this furthest forward one. Okay, so we want to stay within this range, but avoid these two. Alright. It's very easily if you have a nebula nearby. Yeah, right. Like, yeah, okay, perfect. Because you can quickly hide yourself and it'll confuse the AI. right? So like he's the only one pursuing us. If we stay here and then we get back within its range, it should be the only one heading towards us. Okay. Again, this Ordo is on the smaller size, but I am gonna fight it. Again, just to demonstrate some of the techniques. So we saw it from the perspective of the monitor. I think this time I'm gonna jump in the Legion and kind of show like more so I guess what a typical role or what like a typical person would do, where they're not flying around like the tank. They're flying around more of a capital ship. So we'll go ahead and move into engage, transfer command over to the Legion, and then we'll go ahead and hit continue. So it is a Radiant, it is a Brilliant, two Scintillas. These are carriers, and then a Fulgent, which is just a regular destroyer. A lot of frigates. Don't underestimate these frigates. Individually, they're not really scary, but in numbers, they can easily take down a cruiser. They are very fast, and the Glimmer especially has a large weapon system available to it. A medium energy weapon system to it. So it can have things like ion pulsers, like this one does, which can easily disable a lot of your weapon systems. All right, so let's go ahead and continue. We'll deploy the Legion. We'll deploy the Hyperions. We're still going to bring in the monitors, we just won't pilot them. The AI is a lot more susceptible to fault and failure, but we'll see if they can get the job done. We bring in the Auroras for outflanking, and we'll bring in the strikes, and we'll escort them with the omens. All right. So similar to last time, what we're going to do is push forward and see if we can capture these nav buoys. And then we'll tell our Auroras to see if they can capture this one as well. We'll grab our strikes to go grab that. Our omens will escort the strikes. And then our monitors will push into the Great Unknown. Once we find the Radiant, we'll put both of them on the Radiant, and they can go ahead and get that. We'll send one Aurora over to the comm relay, and then have it meet up with the other one. Okay. We'll activate burn drive here so we can keep up with the fleet. So I really like the Legion 14 over the standard Legion. The Legion 14 trades off a little top speed for a lot more armor and damage reduction. And I think that's definitely worth it. A capital ship isn't known for its top speed anyway. So, giving up something that's already hampered so much for a pretty significant benefit, I think is worth it. Also, the Legion being a carrier means that you can bring more to the fight. In this case, I have Kopesh's because it's geared for more so fighting a battle station. But even Kopesh's in a fight like this is going to prove very helpful because they provide constant high explosive pressure. And the AI will keep their shields up to mitigate high explosive damage, which is perfect because a lot of my ships they specialize in doing kinetic damage. So it's really great there. Let's grab our monitors and put our monitors on the Radiant. Um, we can go ahead and remove that order. We can remove that order. We can set you to that. Okay. I think everything is good to go there. Alright, now I haven't piloted a Legion in a long time, so bear with me. Alright. Oh, yikes. It's this kind of Radiant. 5. Oh my god. Okay. Okay. That's a problem. 5 auto pulse cannons is a huge problem. The only thing that can tank that is our monitors, and I doubt that our monitors will actually do this correctly. So this is going to be a more challenging fight. But for the sake of variety, we're going to go ahead and stick to what we have. We'll get the Shrike to start in on the Brilliant here, and then we'll go ahead and get the Hyperions to kill off the Glimmers. Um, yeah, we'll have the Omen still escort the Shrike, that's fine. Uh, you're probably not probably not long for this world. Do we have any reinforcements we could bring in? We could bring in a Fury and another monitor. I don't know. I think it'll be alright. We can tank the auto pulse cannons a little better than any of our other ships, so we just hopefully get here before our strike gets shredded. Nice. Okay, perfect. So the monitor grabbing the Radiant's attention is fantastic. Alright, what we're gonna do is we'll cancel that order. We'll have the Auroras go after the Fulgent here. We'll have the Strike go after one of the Scintillas. And then we'll have the monitors stay on the Radiant. The monitors and myself will distract the Radiant for long enough. Hopefully we can start eliminating some of these targets, and then just have the rest of the fleet collapse on the Radiant. I will bring it back up. We'll bring in a Fury and another monitor. And we'll assign a monitor to the Brilliant, and we'll assign the Fury to the Brilliant as well. Alright, we'll go ahead and put our shield up for now. We'll hit the R key to focus on the Radiant, and then we'll hit the Z key, which is going to tell our Kopeshes to go ahead and engage. Fire off a Reaper to build up some high explosive, build up some hard flux. Alright, we're going to have to tank some of that. Alright. We'll regroup our Kopeshes because they're getting slaughtered. Alright. This Radiant is particularly deadly. It just having the so many auto pulse cannons is just really tough for us to deal with. Alright. Let's get the Auroras to kill the Brilliant. Yeah, we'll just collapse everybody on the Brilliant. You can keep fighting that though. We'll collapse everybody on the Brilliant, and then we'll pull out the monitors, and we'll have the monitors see if they can help us with the Radiant. You can go kill that Glimmer, or kill that Lumen. Alright, let's go ahead back up here. Now, just because the Radiant is this far away, does not mean you're safe to vent. The Radiant can very easily go ahead and circle back around and take us out. Alright. So we're good to go there. We'll have the Auroras go ahead and take on that. We'll have the Fury take on that. We'll have the Shrike take on the Scintilla. We'll have the Hyperions pick off the last frigate. Yeah, we'll have both Strikes go after the Scintillas. Everybody else take on that. And then our monitors are still doing a phenomenal job tanking for us. Oh, that's the poor soul. Okay. Alright, we'll change this to an engage order. The Radiant will break off from you if it thinks it can kill another target that's nearby. So our Aurora being slightly overloaded and slightly damaged, the Radiant left our fight even though we were high flux and could have easily continued to pressure us to go get a what it thought was an easy kill. Oh yeah, I just learned this. You can press X to hold fire, which will disable all of your weapon systems. Really good if you have beam weapons and your beams keep activating because they get in range, and then you lose your top speed. Yeah, you can hold X. Alright, you don't have to hold X, but you can press X to close the distance. And then, oh my god, if I hit another monitor. To close the distance and then activate it again so that you start firing. Alright. Okay. Very terrifying monitor. The 5 auto pulse cannons does a ton of damage. And then it also had Reapers to back it up. Alright. So we'll go ahead and take all. Again, we can dump the metal. Honestly, we can dump all that metal. Okay. I think that's going to demonstrate kind of what a Remnant auto fight looks like. Hopefully... Oh, this episode went long. Um, in the future, I'll look for a larger Remnant auto to fight so I can really demonstrate kind of like what it looks like. If I can't find a bigger one, because it is still relatively early in the game, but if I can't find a bigger fleet, then I'll just demonstrate it on my main campaign, and it'll be an addendum to this video. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed that. The next episode will tackle fighting a Remnant Nexus, show you what that looks like. And then in the final episode, we will demonstrate a very special fight that I'm looking forward to. But other than that, hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Grumpy out.